The Floor Academy podcast is sponsored by Trelama, the trade labor marketplace, where businesses can find skilled trade labor, such as flooring installers, and where flooring installers and other skilled tradespeople can find permanent or project work. You can set up your profile at trelama.com, TRALAMA.com, or download the app from the Apple App Store or Google Play. And remember, Trelama is always free for skilled tradespeople. Welcome to the Floor Academy podcast. I'm your host, Kyle Hedin, owner of Illustrious Hardwoods in Phoenix, Arizona. We are here talking with flooring professionals from all over the country about the issues that matter to you. This week's guest is Jon Namba. Jon is the owner of Namba Services, Inc. in Taylorsville, Utah. He's also the editorial director for Floor Covering Installer magazine. From positions with the NWFA to CFI to CTEF, he has been a busy man making many connections. Find out why Jon says we need to invest in ourselves to get ahead. Listen in to find out how you can gain by giving back. Jon Namba, are you on the line?
I am.
Awesome. Welcome to the Floor Academy podcast. Thank you so much for joining us.
Thanks for having me.
Oh, my pleasure. I had heard your name. I was told by Rowland Thompson and a Ken Ballin that I needed to get you on the show, and I was like, who's Jon Namba? Like, why do I want that guy on my show? So I went and I poked around, and I was like, oh yeah, I do want that guy on my show. And that's my ignorance from really only trying to get involved with the flooring industry past year and a half, and learning the who's who in the world and a mover and a shaker. So you've got a lot going on. Executive director at CFI, president and board of directors for NWFA. You've been running your own show for a while. You've got your NFIC cert, editorial director over at Floor Covering Installer magazine. You are in and out and around the block a couple of times within this industry.
It keeps me busy.
That's
bet. For sure.
I mean, did you have time for kids and a wife and a home anywhere in there?
You know what? It's a challenge. It was in and out.
I bet. Oh man. Why don't you introduce yourself? Give us the big overview of, who you are, how you got involved and started, and how you kind of ended up getting involved with the industry and why.
Well, so the way I got introduced into the flooring side of the industry is through my wife. At the time, I was going with, as Susie is my girlfriend, and her father installed carpet. He was doing commercial work. And I was going to college, started college. He asked me if I could help him out. So I was taking night school courses. And so I'd work during the day, go to school at night. And it got to the point where he asked me if I could work with him full time, and ended up getting married and started down the road in the floor covering industry. Started in carpet and saw where he was at with it, and I thought, you know what, I don't know if this is all I want to do is carpet, so I started to expand, seeing what was out there on the horizon, and got into other things, got into sand and finish, hardwood, went to work with a couple of buddies of mine, said, look, teach me, I want to learn, got into ceramic tile, and one thing led to another, and I just have a passion for learning. Mm-hmm. I've always enjoyed education, even going to school. And started in 1977 in the flooring side of the industry. So it's been a number of years and, continually learning. And right now at this point in my life, I'm 61 years old and just wanting to give back. I've, got certifications in resilient, 4-bowl master mechanic, certified floor covering installers as a master installer, CFI Master 2 installer, the NWFA. I've gone through their certification programs, and I'm an instructor for National Wood Flooring Association. The tile side of the industry went through the CTEF program with their certified tile installer program, so I am certified there also. And I just believe certifications can do a person a lot of good. It builds up your self-esteem, gives you the confidence to go out in the world. And, if you're doing a good job out there, promote yourself and get all the education you can. That's what I'm all about.
I love it. That's what we're about here. My big push is to learn while you earn. These guys and gals, you've been listening to the same music since you were in high school, and it's not getting any better. I'm not saying it's getting worse, but it's not getting any better. So
No, it's definitely not.
Turn it off. Get an audiobook, turn on this podcast, turn on another podcast, get some business experience. The education is key, and we don't all have time to go to school at night between a wife and kids or whatever you got going on. A business is enough. You got to double up. Did you finish college? You were doing the night school thing.
I didn't finish college.
Okay.
I didn't finish. That's probably one regret that I have. But you know what? The amount of money I have spent on education on the flooring side of the industry, I probably could have got a college degree I've spent so much money going to schools, certification programs, investing in the education side on that. Yeah. And you know what? It's paid off. I never thought I would be where I'm at in life with the, in the flooring industry. It was not exactly the direction I had planned on, but You know what? The passion and the drive and the people you meet along the way, I wouldn't trade it. I really wouldn't trade it for a college education.
Okay. And that's fair. I mean, I think you've invested in the industry and it's kind of invested back in you. And so you were able to be successful at it. So let me ask you this. How did your wife's dad fare? Is he a dead broke commercial carpet installer? Did he end up with some savings? Was he ahead of the curve opposed to a lot of contractors that, still, despite the fact they run the business, they live paycheck to paycheck or project to project?
Well, he's 93 years old now, and he was installing up to, he retired, and then he got so bored being retired, he wanted to get back into installation. I think he was installing up to the age of about 86, if I remember right.
Wow.
Doing small jobs, nothing big, just small jobs. But his business sense, I think he could have gotten a lot further had he had a little bit more business knowledge.
Okay.
He did okay. He okay, but he just didn't have quite the business knowledge to really take him to. He should have been at that next level with his hand skills. There was no question he had the ability. But when it came to the business skills and the business knowledge, that's where he was weak, and that's where a lot of installers are weak.
Yep.
And I've always said, in all my presentations, I tell installers, if you want to be successful, become a business person first and then an installer. Because if you have the business sense, the installation hand skills, you already have those. They'll just follow in naturally, but you got to have the business skills.
I couldn't agree more. We're not, I've been on my own about 2.5 years. I thought I was selling installations for the first year and a half, maybe the first year. And that's not what I'm selling. I'm selling an experience. I'm selling myself. I am selling so many other things other than an installation. And the minute you can grasp that, you will be leaps and bounds ahead of the next guy that's out there, because they think they're just selling an installation, and that's not at all what you're selling.
When I do my sales classes, I tell the sales associates, look, our company doesn't sell a job. We don't sell. We build relationships. Mm-hmm. And when you build that relationship, it's so much easier, when we talk about closing a deal, closing a sale. We don't, it's a relationship. That relationship's going to continue after that first installation. We have clients that are, that we've had for 20 plus years that still come back to us. They'll just call us and say, hey, John, we have this project. We want you to do it. We love those jobs. We're not having to bid against other companies. They know we're going to treat them right. They know we're going to cost more. It's going to cost more for them to have us. but they're happy with the end result.
Mm-hmm.
And that's what we're trying to achieve. Keep our customers happy, do the best we can, make a living for ourselves and our employees, and move forward.
I love it. I mean, that's the dream, right? Like they call you up
It
and
is.
they say, you're it. Like just come and take care of it and give us an invoice. So, did you have that business sense in the beginning? Is that something you acquired? Is that why you got involved with the industry? How did that kind of come about?
No, the business, you know what? I was probably just like your average guy when it comes to business sense. And so I went through my struggles, and that's where networking with peers, networking with people smarter than you. Don't be afraid to be humble. Don't be afraid to ask. Don't be too proud, because if you have that type of attitude, you won't make it. Be willing to listen to other people who are smarter than you. Take their advice, and you know what? Try things. Sometimes it'll work. Sometimes it won't work. Get up, dust off, and try it again. But you learn through going through the classes that are available through the associations. You read books on how to manage a business. You talk to other people in other industries, even how they're running their business. You get their ideas. You put it together. First thing you do is you get an accountant. That's the first. If you're going to be a self-employed business owner, get yourself an accountant.
Love it.
That way, you're not going to get into trouble financially on that side of it.
Mm-hmm.
Make sure you have someone who's going to take care of you, who understands the construction side of the business, and can help you in your accounting side. That's a big plus right there. And once we started, once I went down that road and started gaining more knowledge with that, and listening to other people, working with other people, that's when you're going to start to be able to make some money and some money in the bank.
I couldn't agree more. I think right off the bat, pretty much within the first 4 or 5 months, I want to say I had gone and hired a bookkeeper. It's a monthly expense, but I send her a bunch of receipts. She makes it look pretty. Take the stuff over to the CPA at the end of the year. They communicate, they make it happen. They tell me, here, you got to pay this much. Okay. Done deal, and I don't have to worry about it. It's done by other professionals that are great in their field, and I get to focus on what I need to do, and I can do well. So I love that. I forgot you had said something. Now I forgot. I went on blank on it. So you're getting involved in the industry stuff, and you were saying you were networking and stuff. So how did you find certification classes and learn that was kind of the way to go and how you were going to be able to grow?
I started just kind of doing my own investigating and seeing what was out there. I started to get burned out. I started to get burned out before any of these training programs, the certifications, a lot of these associations, just, being my own little, business owner in Salt Lake City, Utah, and it getting beat up by retailers, controlling the prices of what I was, here I am working, doing the best that I can, doing actually a better job than a lot of the other installers, yet I was getting paid the same amount.
Yeah.
It started getting to the point where the retailer I worked for started giving me the tougher jobs because I did a better job, and yet I was still getting paid the same amount as the other installers who were doing apartment work, and they were off and done by 3 o'clock, and here I was working till 7 or 8 o'clock at night for the same amount of yardage because I was working with more difficult products.
Mm-hmm.
That's when I got really burned out, and I had to make a decision. We actually started another business. My wife started a silkscreen business, and it actually took off quite well. I decided I either had to get out of the business of installation or I had to have a different attitude. So one day, it was a New Year's Eve. I said, okay, I'm going to change my life. And from this day on, I'm going to change. I'm going to cut my hair. I'm going to look sharp. I'm going to dress well. I'm going to change my attitude. I'm going to change the way my appearance. I'm going to change the way my truck looks. I'm going to be more organized with everything. And from that point on, I haven't looked back. So, from when I saw the change in myself, being more positive and saying, yeah, you know what, things are better. And I stood up to the retailer and I told him, look, I didn't demand, I negotiated.
Mm-hmm.
I negotiated a raise, and I got it. So we were able to work things out. I didn't go in demanding. I went in and made a business choice to go in and negotiate. And with that, I learned that my confidence level, I could ask for more money. I wasn't afraid to ask for more money, but you got to be smart about it. You can't be, one thing about asking for more money, you better darn well be able to perform, number one.
Mm-hmm.
If you're going to ask for more money, that's when the other person is going to say, okay, what are you going to give me if I give you more? So you better be willing to step up to the plate and offer something. But what that does is it gives you that confidence, and it gives you the ability to go out and ask more and not hesitate when you ask for more. So many installers, when they go in and ask for more money or try to talk to a end user or someone, will go in and say, I'd like to get $350 a square foot. Is that okay? That's not the right approach,
Mm-hmm.
because you leave that hesitation there, and it's kind of open-ended to where they can negotiate back. Going with confidence. It's going to cost $350 a square foot.
No, I love
here's
it.
what you're going to get for that $350 a square foot. And there may be some negotiating after that, but at that point in time, the other side knows, look, this guy's serious. He's come to the table. He's come to the table with a business mind. Everyone has different overhead. I have a shop. I have employees. I cannot compete with a guy in a pickup truck that has no overhead. I have overhead, so I cannot even begin to compete at the level he or she is at. If they're just working out of a truck, yeah, they can work at a lower cost price point. I can't do that.
Correct. And that's you got to know your numbers. If you don't know your numbers, you can't put together a solid bid, and you're going to be out of business in no time.
Yeah, and that's where your accountant helps out, because they're going to tell you, John, you need to start charging more because you're not making it. Your profit margins aren't where they're supposed to be. Your profit and loss statements, you're not there. So it teaches you, okay, I've got to increase here. Where do I have to increase? How can I increase? How can I be more efficient? And, even today, no matter how good you are, I don't care what company it is, you're still going to have those days where, you're going to be in the red.
Yep.
But you have to look at, you can't look at it on a day to day. You got to look at it a month. You got to look at it 6 months. You got to look at it a year. In that 1 year time, did you make money at the end of the year? And if you did, you know what? If you're in the black, that's a good thing.
Totally agree. I mean, if you made a penny and all your bills are paid, you can strive for at least 2 next year. But hopefully you're doing way better than that. There's no reason a flooring installer should only be profiting a penny at the end of the year, guys and gals.
Especially right now, with the shortage of installers that are out there in all floor covering and installations, there is no reason why a good installer, a qualified installer, shouldn't be making good money right now.
I agree. You bring up a very key word there, and you said qualified. And so you had pointed out that you were doing the harder materials and dealing with the harder installations. And so you went and cleaned up, got a little business acumen, and went in, negotiated a higher rate. I would love to see installers working for stores be able to do that. but you had some things to back it up. So what do you think the people that are subcontractors need to do to be able to go in and, get from that low wage of, what is it? Like, you're probably like $3 a yard on carpet or less in some areas. So how do they go and get paid? Because it's ridiculously low in some areas.
It is. And, it can be a challenge for the guys who really, hey, it's tough for a lot of the installers out there. They know if they stand up too hard to a retailer or an end user or whoever and try to demand more or try to negotiate more, and they don't get the job, and their family's at home, and they have a truck payment, they have a house payment, they got kids to feed, that is challenging. It's so challenging. And you can get frustrated, you can get angry, but it's one of those where you've made a choice. If you're going to stay in this industry and stick with it, you've got to make changes. You can't do the same thing day in and day out. It will burn you out. It will beat up your body. This is a physical business. It's very physical. Whether it's carpet, hardwood, tile, laminate, resilient, it's a very physical, part of what we do in our trade. You've got to look at the long term, and you've got to invest in yourself. And that's why I say, take the time to learn how to do things the proper way, be qualified, step up. And yes, there are a lot of companies who look at you, you're certified. So what? It just means you want more money. Well, yeah. But you know what? You've got to be able to explain to that retailer, the end user, why you're worth that extra money on that certification. If you have that certification, what are you going to give them that the other installers on a day-to-day basis, they're making money. They're making the store money. Everybody's making money. What are you becoming a prima donna just because you're certified? That's a lot of the feelings a lot of the retailers get out there, is that, some of these installers become prima donnas just because they get certified. And I think that's where the installer has to you have to educate that retailer. And that's where the associations come in to help support that installer too. They're going into these retailers and telling them, look, these guys are not prima donnas. They've just chosen to be better, and they're trying to, set themselves apart and be the gold standard rather than, like the rest of the fish in the sea. So that part there is where an installer needs to learn how to negotiate. And you've got to be able to, if you're going to talk the talk, you got to walk the walk.
Yes. And
you got to prove yourself. A lot of times you have to prove yourself before you can get, the compensation on the backside.
Which is fair. You got to go in and you got to show you can do it. If you're going to tell somebody you're not going to get any callbacks, you better go out and perform over 10 jobs and not get any callbacks. Your carpet better be stretched. Your joints better be tight. You silicone everything. You got to silicone. I don't know what you're putting down, but whatever you're putting down, you better make sure that you're hitting the specs for that installation and making everybody happy and wowing them.
Yep. I agree. Totally.
So, that's the thing, right? There's guys that can go and pass a class and get the cert, but they go back and they don't do it. So they can say they're certified, but then they kind of put a bad name on it. And then there's guys that take it seriously and they go out and they perform day in and day out to that standard, because at the end of the day, somebody else said they're good enough. So, and that's how I look at it. I went and Jonathan Varden put his name on my certificate saying, this guy's going to go out and perform every day. So it's not only do I not want to let my clients down, I don't want to let myself down. I don't want to let him down. I don't want to let who certified him down, and every other CFI installer, because they all have the same thing writing on this, right? Like if we're going to say that we're certified in whatever area we are, then we have to step up to the plate and knock it out of the park.
You do. And that's one thing. When you do get certified, you're not just representing yourself anymore. You're now part of a group of installers, and you are out there representing them and yourself. So yeah, you put a black eye on yourself, you're putting a black eye on the industry and the association and all its members. So, and that's why, the guys that take it seriously, there's some good guys. Yeah, there are installers out there that go through the certification program. A lot of times they do it just because the retailer told them they had to do it. And I've been to several certification trainings where we've gone in, and at the beginning of the class you get the attitude is, look, I'm only here because I have to be here. I don't want to be here. You're costing me work. You're taking time away from me making money. So let's just get this over and done with. It's really interesting. At the end of the day, or 2 days, 3 days, whatever that training and certification period is, the attitude change that you see overcome these guys and gals. It's amazing to see and hear what they have to say. A lot of them will come back and say, you know what, I learned more in 3 days than I have in 10 years. So when you hear comments like that, you know that something struck a nerve, and you made a difference. That's where the satisfaction comes in as a trainer.
Well, so let's talk about that. Okay. So now you're getting these rewarding stories back. So you went and you found the options that were out there, and you started getting some certifications. How'd that road go? Why get involved with the industry associations, and then why spend the time to become a trainer?
It was interesting that, on the training side of things, my first probably exposure to training was probably with the Certified Floor Covering Installers Association. After I got certified, they had asked me if I would be interested in teaching and certifying. And I thought, you know what? I am not a public speaker, but there, as trainers, certifiers, you see people with hand skills. You see people who carry themselves well. And when you see those people, you want those people to be involved. And I just, like I said, I've always taken whatever product I install, I want to make sure I'm the best at what I do and take pride in it. And I guess they just saw something there, and one thing led to another. And so I got involved with the Certified Floor Covering Installers Association, and was volunteering to go through certification trainings with them, and did that for quite some time. And then I got a phone call from Chris Davis at the World Floor Covering Association one day, and he asked me if I wanted to become their Director of Technical Services, because Dick Bray, who retired, was he was stepping down, so they needed to fill his position. So they asked me if I would be interested, and I was not interested because it was down in Anaheim, California, and I did not want to move to California. And one thing led to another, ended up in California. And then I got involved with the National Wood Flooring Association while I was the director there, and got involved with the CTEF. And it just kind of snowballed. I got to know, some of the trainers there, and I had the skills for sand and finish for the hardwood side. I had the skills for the installation of ceramic tile. And so it was kind of an easy step. And it just, when I when I got involved with them, they just asked me, would you be willing to help us out? So I just kept jumping and helping out, working with the associations. Great people, great networking. And like I said, I would not trade the friendships that I've gained over the years for anything.
No, I believe it. I've felt nothing but love getting involved with this industry. It's probably, I'll call it a brotherhood, but there's definitely women involved, and people are very accepting. They're very open. They're very willing to help out. There's some old school mindsets in there where they don't want to tell you anything or teach you anything, but for the most part, like, I've had nothing but a good time. I just wanted to interject for a minute to let you know that Preferred Flooring is now the exclusive distributor for stubby flooring tools in the USA. The stubby mini Cove and Lino Cove are a must-have in the toolbox if you're a resilient installer. Cove floor covering should be supported by a solid backing, and traditional rollers don't allow you to roll the entire radius of the Cove. Stubby rollers feature a dual radius profiled head to ensure full lateral pressure contact during the Cove forming. It helps to eliminate the notorious cracks at the Cove due to insufficient seating of material to the Cove stick. Visit www.preferredflooringmi.com to use coupon code LEARN to get 10% off the stubby rollers and join Preferred Flooring in setting the standard one installation at a time. If you want more information, email info@preferredflooringmi.com. Now, what I do find interesting is that you went from a carpet world to sand and finish world to a tile world, and everyone's very accepting of you. And if you went and you tried to, like, you can call them factions, and like the carpet guys are carpet guys and the hardwood guys are hardwood guys, and then there's your sand and finish guys, because you could just do engineered hardwood, and that's not really the same. And then there's your tile guys, and it doesn't always play nice, even though it doesn't. And even though everyone's doing like beautiful artistic work on the high end of things, they'll start bickering with each other, and it's not always a pretty sight. So how were you able to navigate this world and play nice with everybody and be respected, but then be able to say, hey, look, I do these other things, but I can do this on a high level too?
I think it's because, as a trainer, and just being out there in the industry where, sand and finish will go toe to toe with anybody. And why do the guys respect me for that? Because they know I can stand behind a machine. Mm-hmm. I can run an edger. I can apply stain. I can apply finish. They've seen me do it. And that's where you gain the respect. On the tile side, same thing. I'm out there working with guys all the time. So they see my hand. And that's what I've always said. As a trainer, as a certifier, guys ask me, John, why are you still out there? Because I got to show the guys, not only can I talk the talk, but I can walk the walk. I can go out there and go toe to toe with these guys and show them this, hey, this guy, he's got the hand skills. He's got the hand skills. He's got the knowledge. Hey, he's an okay guy. So that's why I've always wanted to make sure that when I'm home, I'm out there in the field with my guys on a day-to-day basis. This year, it's been a lot more than years past, because with all the COVID-19 stuff going on, my travel this year is, dropped to almost to zero. So I'm at home a lot more, and I'm able to spend a lot more time out in the field with the guys. So that's why I feel that it's important as a trainer, as a certifier, that I stay involved in the industry, whether hardwood, carpet, tile, resilient flooring. I need to make sure that I can function, and perform to the level these guys expect if I'm going to be a trainer and a certifier. To keep that, these contractors are not stupid. They know when someone is, just trying to talk the talk.
Mm-hmm.
The minute you pick up a tool, the minute you start running a sander, the minute you start setting tile, they watch you. They're looking for something that, they can hit you on and say, this guy doesn't know what he's talking about. This guy doesn't know what he's doing. These guys are looking for that. And so that's why I think you have to gain the respect And that's one thing I think I've been able to do is I've been able to gain the respect of, my peers in different categories of flooring. And they realize that they give me the respect. I give them the respect.
It's beautiful. I mean, you're going in and you're right. We're going to be critical. We want to see that you can do it. I don't want to listen to a guy who's read it in a textbook or was given a training manual and can come and spit it out. I want the guy that's been there, been through it, battled hell to figure it out, and can answer the question when I ask like this really weird one-off question, but you have the experience to know the answer. So.
Yeah, and that's where that's you ask, how do I do that? That's how I do it. I stay involved. I keep my hands in it. I try to stay up to date with all the new things, and I play around with them to see what works, what doesn't work. So when the guys say, "Hey, what do you think of this?" and I tell them, "This is what I think of this product," they know I've worked with that product.
Mm-hmm. And it's hard to stay up on everything,
It is. It really is.
Especially when you're involved in that many things. It can be hard enough when you're involved in one industry, but you're covering technically four. I mean, you can look at tile, resilient, carpet, and hardwood all as their own industry, even though they're in the same. And so you got new tools, new products, new standards coming out all the time. What are you doing to keep up with it all? You're running a business, you're training your guys in the field, you're traveling around doing certifications. How are you, do you have like a daily schedule you're using to where you're like, okay, I'm going to spend an hour and I'm going to do this? And then like, do you block out your time? Do you just kind of roll with the punches? How are you managing everything?
You can go through all these programs. I went through the Stephen Covey program. I remember when the Palm Pilot first came out. You probably don't even know what that is.
Oh, I do.
Too young.
I remember the Apple Newton. Do you remember the Apple Newton?
Oh yeah.
Okay. See,
but those are all regimented programs. But in our flooring side and the construction side of the industry, one phone call can change your day.
Mm-hmm.
So yeah, I have a schedule, but it can change. I do inspection work also, so I can get a phone call. Well, just a couple of weeks ago, I received a phone call, and one day, and they said, "Can you be to this inspection tomorrow?" And I thought, "Holy smokes! I got to shuffle my schedule around," and I had to fly out to go do the inspection. So, one day's notice, I had to change my schedule, fly out, do an inspection, fly back out the same day. And, then get back onto my regular schedule. So yeah, it's always evolving. We do have a schedule, and most of the jobs on a day to day are pretty good. We'll have a few items here and there come up that may delay us a day or half a day or something.
Mm-hmm.
Those are, we keep in contact with our clients and let them know what's going on. So they're pretty good about all that stuff. And we're usually pretty good with our scheduling. My son and my wife handle a lot of that day-to-day stuff. So I'm more fill in with the guys. I bounce around, and we typically have anywhere from probably 3 to 5 projects going on at the same time. So there's a lot of cogs in the wheel here that are constantly moving.
Mm-hmm.
So we're all over the place, but there are days that you get up early, you work late. Doing inspection reports at night, on weekends, any spare time I have, and catching up with this daily schedule with my son. And most of the time with the training and the certification, those are blocked out because my son and my wife know that those I need to be at those. So those are, blocked out. So they know they can't really count on me at home on those days and that. So,
Okay.
but it is, between the magazine and all the other stuff, it is a constant merry-go-round. But you know what? This is the way I look at it. As long as I can be a positive part of the industry, I'll stay involved. Because the sun is setting for me. I'm 61 years old. And I know that, I'm starting to go on the downside of things. So I've got to make sure that whatever I have to give to the industry, I need to do it now and, be positive about it. And as long as like I said, as long as I can give back, I'll give back.
Why? Why give back? I mean, I get it. Don't get me wrong, but like,
yeah,
I want your answer.
Right. So why give back? Because one thing about this industry, if you take it to heart and you really, really get serious with it and commit yourself, it's going to suck you in. Because once again, the friends you meet, the networking, all that knowledge that you gain over those years, there's value in that. There's value for the next person that hasn't experienced what you have. And if you can save them a headache, save them some money by giving back to them, telling guys, I tried this. It didn't work for me. It cost me money. Here's the way I approached it. I'll tell you what, that is worth its weight in gold, because these individuals are trying to make a living. And if they can make a living and not have to go through the struggles that I have had to go through, and it can make their life better, and they can move forward faster and make more money faster, you know what? That's a positive thing. And, for me, it's a feel-good thing, because it means that I know that I've given back to someone who's been able to better their lives and provide for their family and be successful. When you see that glimmer in someone's eyes, you see someone you haven't seen for 5 years, and they come back and tell you, John, you changed my life. I'll tell you what, that hits home. That really, really hits home.
I bet.
And that's why I give back.
I love it. And I know what you're not talking about people responding with, that doesn't work in my area. Like that's not what you're saying here. Is you're saying you can go and literally help people build a better business and show them how they can make that work in their area. Because that's the thing I hate most, is you see in these online forums guys come along and, hey, I'm charging this, I'm charging that, blah, blah, blah. Well, that would never work in my area. Well, did you try? Well, no, somebody else did. Well, but did you try?
Yeah, that's yeah. It's tough. I think you're in Phoenix, Arizona. You're located in Phoenix, Arizona. A buddy of mine lives in Tucson, Arizona. So, with cost of, tile, it surprises me how inexpensive the labor is to set tile down in that area.
I saw a guy offer in a Facebook group the other day 1,000 to 1,100 square feet of install at $1 a square foot.
Yeah, that's insane.
Yeah,
it's the cheapest materials, the quickest. You got to produce at that.
Oh, the homeowner was providing everything. He just had to do labor.
Okay.
And he said, I'll do it at $1 a square foot. And I was like, I was flabbergasted. Why? Why would you even do that to yourself?
Exactly. A good friend of mine down in Tucson is, has raised his prices considerably. And he is busier than busy. So to say that, it's not happening in my area, no, it is happening in those areas. It's just how, the guys that are successful know how to market themselves. Mm-hmm. The guys that are doing it, saying it doesn't work that way in our neck of the woods. They keep going down the same road, hitting the same potholes. And they just, they don't change lanes. They don't try to do something different. And that's why they're stuck in that rut. They, no, there are people in your area making a lot more money, but you're just not catching on to what they're doing. You've got to, once again, swallow your pride and talk to them.
Yeah. Oh, that's what I was going to say way earlier. You were saying that you're in the room with a bunch of other people, and if you're the smartest guy in the room, you're in the wrong room. Get
Yeah,
out of it. Go find the room
exactly.
where you're the dumbest guy in the room,
Yeah,
so you
you
can
want,
learn.
you do. You want to continually learn. There's so many things changing in the industry constantly that you just got to, you've got to be willing to listen and adapt and apply.
Well, so how much of the business sense that you've acquired has come from networking with everyone you've met at the classes as opposed to being like the president of NWFA? Like obviously that position is going to require you to have some business sense. And so was that developed way before by the networking you've done, by being involved with the certification classes and meeting guys from all over the country and being able to talk shop? Or did you kind of get a crash course in like, here's upper scale business management and now I have to do it?
No, I think it's, and it's with the NWFA, it was the NWFA CP, which is the Certified Professional
Got it.
Program. That's
Okay.
what I was the president of. So make sure I got that clarified. But
Will do.
it's a learning process. It's not going to happen overnight. It won't happen overnight. It's going to be a learning process. You can go to college, get a degree in business marketing. You get out of college, get your degree. It's still a learning curve. Everything you learn, some things are going to work that you were taught, some things aren't going to work because it's your business and not everything is going to apply to your specific business. So you have to take all those little pieces like a puzzle and put it all together. And it's a step-by-step process. It's not an overnight thing. That's why you've got to give it time. You've got to build that business. Someone told me once that, when you go into business, you create a business that you can sell to someone else. That's what you're trying to create. When you open up your business, a store, whatever it is, you're creating a business that will entice someone else to buy your business. And that's how you'll know you're successful, because someone else wants to buy what you have. And it is a process. It's not going to happen overnight. And that's why you have to continually work at it. And you're going to take those days where you take a step forward and 2 steps back. And that's part of that learning curve, cost of doing business. And hopefully you learn from all those little stumbles, and you become better at the back end of it, because like I said, you will stumble on a few things. It's going to happen, guaranteed.
That's that advice right there. Going into business so you can sell your business will give you a totally different mindset than quitting the store and going into business to be able to pay your bills.
Yep.
That's right there. You've gotten so much value from Jon, and not that the rest of this didn't have value, but that's huge right there. I mean, mindset's everything, but that's out in left field thinking where, most guys are just like, I got to pay the bills. I got to pay the bills. It's not, you can pay the bills, but have something bigger planned.
You do. You do. You have to dream. Don't be afraid to dream. Don't, we get so caught up in the business day to day and the paperwork, trying to make payroll, make your, pay your bills. You lose that drive. You lose the dream. Don't lose that dream. Keep dreaming and keep moving, because if you don't, you'll just shrivel up. You've got to keep that passion and that fire burning.
So what are you doing to keep it burning? How are you after, man, 40, 45 something years, right?
And I still, you think I'd be getting burned out? I may be stupid. I don't know. I am so passionate about this industry. I'm so passionate when I see other, my peers have that fire in their eyes like I do. And we get it. We get it. And when you get together, and that's one thing, everyone's missed the conventions, whether it's CFI, whether it's NWFA. CFI's, planning on holding theirs in December.
Mm-hmm.
But, NWFA, the, coverings, and, a lot of these trade shows, yeah, we've gone virtual with a lot of the education, and that's great. But you know what? Seeing your peers, giving a, high five, having a beverage with one, just sitting down and conversing, everyone misses those times. Hopefully we'll have those back sooner than later. But when you get together with your friends in that, it pumps you up. And that it pumps me up. It keeps me going. And to see my son and, his family moving into this side of the industry with flooring and construction side that we're in,
mm-hmm.
He's got that drive. He's got that passion. It's, it's handing down to that next generation. So it's neat to see. And I hope it keeps going.
Well, it's been going for hundreds of years already, so I don't think it's going to stop, but I definitely think that there's a lack of qualified individuals with passion for the industry. There's a lot of guys that are doing it to be able to pay the bills, and they're not serious about their craft. So what do you think we need to do to get people on board, change their mindset, get them excited about what they're doing, loving what they're doing, and wanting to pass on a trade versus a commodity?
We've got to make our side of the industry sexy. I'm not trying to, we need to make it pretty. Mm-hmm. We need to make the desire for the younger generation to say, hey, that's something I want to do. We need to show them it's an art form. It's not just a piece of carpet. It's not just a piece of wood. It's not just a piece of, tile. There's so many things that you can do with these products that are artistic and beautiful. And every single job that you install is unique. It's one of a kind, because you'll never see that replicated in another job. You may have the same pattern, the same design, but every tile is going to be different. Mm-hmm. It's still a unique individual job. And that's what we have to bring that attractiveness into the industry, whether it's carpet, hardwood, tile. Yeah, it's hard work, guys, but you know what? It's well worth it. At the end of the day, when you're done and you look back, it's self-satisfaction, and take pride in that.
I agree. I think a lot of times the jobs, an apprentice position, and that's one thing that I'm striving for, is stop hiring helpers. A helper has nowhere to go. They're literally there to help. They're only ever going to sweep, open a box, do whatever. Hire an apprentice. That's someone you are going to train. But it's sold wrong. It's, hey, this job's really hard and you're going to move stuff and you're going to get dirty and we're going to work long hours because I never know when we're going to get to go home, because that's just how flooring goes and you don't know what's going to happen during the day. Why aren't we selling like, hey, come to this really rewarding job where at the end of the day, you're going to be able to see progress. And so there's instant gratification. The homeowner is going to walk through the door and tell you, oh my gosh, I can't believe you've transformed my home. Like, there's so many upsells to what we can do within this industry to sell a job to someone that's young. And all we do is the classic, Gen X baby boomer thing of, you're going to get yelled and screamed at, and you're going to have to move heavy stuff from one side of the room, and then I'm going to make you move it from that side of the room back to the other one. Well, no, I don't want to work for you. You're a jerk.
Yeah, yeah, there is that side. There's definitely that side of it. I think one thing about this industry that's not appealing is the time management. When we talk about a helper, when we talk about an apprentice, when we talk about journeyman installers,
Mm-hmm.
when you look at an electrician, when you look at a plumber, and you're on a commercial project or a residential project with them, are they working 7 or 8 o'clock at night? No, they're home.
Yep.
They do their 8 hours and they're home. That, even when I was raising my kids, I was working 6 to 7 days a week. And that was crazy. When my son started kind of taking over here, he said, Dad, I got a family. I do not want to work 6 and 7 days a week. And I respected that. And to this day, we work Monday through Friday.
Yep.
And the employees have, the weekends off. And we're not, there may be a day or two that we end up having to work a little late, but they're willing to do that. But having their weekends, we've been able to do a better job of time management. And with that time management, also you have to look at your profits, because if you're not going to push 6 to 7 days, you've got to make sure your profit margins are in line too with that. So we've been able to go on a 5-day work week. And you know what? We're not burning our employees and our crews out.
Yeah.
We're able to manage on that 8-hour-a-day shift and make it happen. So I think that's one thing that a lot of these journeyman installers who are, self-employed need to learn learn time management. There's, 8 hours to a day. Try to utilize that. And I still, even I can talk about it, but I still push myself. I typically work from 8 to 5 with the guys and the crews and the gals, but then I come home and start doing my report stuff. So I'm still working, but you know what? Try to manage your time to where you've got time for yourself. We on weekends, my wife and I typically are out, out camping. By Fridays, I try to take Fridays off myself.
Okay.
And head out to the hills and play. So that's our time away. And so it's just, you've got to de-stress at some point. I remember working, 6 to 7 days a week for 2 months, and then have that burnout, recover a few days, and then start it all over again. I look back and think, that was stupid.
Yep.
That was really stupid. It took away from my own health. It took away from my family time, and it was just really stupid. So looking back at that, and now, with my son, his family, looking at that, you know what? He made the right choice. So even though he's, just a young punk, I call him a young punk still. I keep telling him I'm still the boss, but I'm not. But
yeah.
But I think I am. But everybody else tells me, puts me in my place. But it's good to see that he's taken that time to spend with family. He saw what I think I did, and he said, Dad, I don't want to be like that. So it's a good thing.
Yeah. No, I couldn't agree more. I started, and I told my wife, okay, I'm only going to work Monday through Friday. And I was like, I'm going to try to work 8 hours a day, or, no more than 10. Like I'll be home for dinner. And for the most part, I've been able to do it. But as the business grows, and I'm still, it's myself and an apprentice, it's
a challenge.
There's a Saturday morning estimate. There's a Sunday morning estimate. There's estimates during the week. But for the most part, unless something weird comes up, I know my numbers well enough. And this is why you have to know your numbers. I can look at, the estimate when I type it up, look at the final number and say, this job's going to take this many 8-hour days, because I know what I can produce in a day, and I can bid it as here's 7 8-hour days. So unless some like major self level comes up, or, something goes awry on the job, you can be there 8-9 hours a day as long as you stay on track and you're getting what you know you can get done in a day done. So it's definitely important, like you're saying, to get away. I would love to see your numbers from your company on productivity from when you switched from 6-7 days a week to 5 days a week only, because I bet you everybody started being more productive because they weren't burnt out.
Yeah, we're doing okay. You know what? We can't complain. And we don't need to go to the 6 to 7 days, so we don't need to.
Well, is revenue up? Because that would be my guess. I bet you if you looked when you switched, your revenue probably went up, even though you were doing less days.
Yeah. Our revenue, we're doing okay. Our revenues are up. We're still able to maintain plus. So
yeah, it's amazing. A little bit of rest, a little bit of relaxation, unwind, and now you're ready to go at it even harder than you would have been.
Yep. Yeah, we haven't had issues with that, so we're good. And I think, one other thing that I think I'd like to point out is people always ask us, I hear this from contractors and, all customers, new customers, do you have a price list? We do not have a price list. We do not publish a price list. I do not have a price list. Every single job is unique. So we do not have a published price list. And I tell guys, you really shouldn't. Maybe you can have your basic pricing, but the problem is your basic pricing, if you list it, that's what people expect.
Yeah.
We do not run any type of price list. We look at each job and price it accordingly and go from there.
Look, we could spend another hour talking about just that, because everyone has a different everyone has a different system.
They do.
And it's not that you can't have, there's guys that don't do square foot pricing anymore. They're all day rates. There's guys that have square foot pricing. There's guys like you that say every job's unique. But I bet you have a base number and you go from there. If you walk in a building and it's miles of hallways, then the price is probably going to go up because hallways take longer. As opposed to if you walk in and it's a warehouse that's 40,000 square feet and there's a couple pillars in the way.
Yep.
You can lower the price a little bit because you're going to get it done faster. So you got to have a base number, I'm sure. But I get what you're saying. You got to go in and look at the unique thing. What about you do any pre-qualifying? Do you just go and look at everything? Do you give like bracket numbers over the phone to kind of get them ready, and then you can go and get numbers once you look at it? How are you doing that?
No, I don't like to give numbers over the phone.
Okay.
Because that's the number they remember. And you get to the job site and it's a different number. And they say, well, you told me this. Wait a minute. Do you remember our conversation? I tried that and I thought, no more. If you want a price over the phone, you're going to FaceTime me and we're going to walk through that job.
Okay.
And, do that. With technology, you can almost do that now. And so every now and then we'll do that. But you know what? When you FaceTime, when you give an estimate over the phone, you're not building that relationship.
Mm-hmm.
And that's what we like to do. We like to build that relationship, spend some one-on-one time with the client, and let them get to know us and get that confidence in us. And, we may be higher, but you know what? They feel better about us than the other person bidding the job. So that's what we want. We want that time, face-to-face time with them.
Mm-hmm.
And it's been a little bit difficult right now, with COVID-19 and that, but we're still able to, do your social distancing, wear your mask if you have to, and go in and spend that time, build that relationship. It takes time, but spending that little extra time will pay off.
No, I agree. There's nothing. Look, you don't want a paycheck. You want a relationship, because the relationship's going to lead to the referrals, is going to lead to, like you said at the very beginning, we can take this all the way back. They call you up now and they say, John, we got a new house. We want a floor. Come do it.
Yeah. And those are projects we love to work with.
Who doesn't? They called you up and said, just give me an invoice.
Yep. Yeah. Gotta love it.
That's the best kind. Oh, awesome. John, sadly, we are at the end of our time, and I know that we could go on for hours and hours about anything. I could pick your brain, but it's amazing that I could have one man with so much knowledge, and we focused on investing in yourself. But I think that is a huge part of this industry that is overlooked. Everyone says, go learn your trade, know your numbers. But if you're not actually investing in yourself to go and do anything, you've missed the mark completely, because you're going to get nowhere.
Exactly.
So, any last thoughts? Anything you want to share?
I think it's when you feel like you're getting, use social media. There's a lot of funny people out there. I don't do a lot on social media. I look at it, but I don't really engage. I'm kind of past that stage in my life. But the younger groups, Ken Ballin, the younger guys, I think it's a great thing to utilize and market yourself. My son, who's Instagram, he's, use social media. Network with your peers through social media right now, because you're not being able to, meet one-on-one a lot of times, and you don't get to see them down the distributors. So it's time to network on, all these different social media platforms, and you can interact with people all over the world. It's not just limited to the United States. It's, now you're dealing with people all over the world. So get to know these people, learn from them, share each other's knowledge, and just be successful out there. Love what you do. You gotta love what you do.
There it is. That's it. It'll be so much easier if you do. It really will.
It will be.
If anyone wants to reach out to you, do you mind giving like an email or something like that if they have questions?
Not a problem. My email is jnamba, CFI, @gmail.com.
Awesome. Thank you so much for taking the time out of your busy schedule to sit down and talk with me. Absolutely amazing advice. Love it. It's so much to take away from it and put back into your business. Whether you go and take a cert, you decide to read a book, you decide to network with people smarter than you, or you get on social media and start connecting with people from different parts of the world to see what they got going on, because they're going to do it a whole different way. So excellent advice. Thank you. Thank you so much. I appreciate it.
All right.
You have a good night.
You too. Thanks, Kyle.
No problem. Bye.
We'll see you.
That's all the time we have for this week. To keep the conversation going, head on over to the Floor Academy Facebook group. Be sure to subscribe so you can hear each and every episode. We can be found on Apple Podcasts, Stitcher, Spotify, iHeartRadio, Google Podcasts, and most major podcast directories. Don't forget to check out the show notes and click on the link for Stubby Tools. Remember, code LEARN will get you 10% off from Preferred Flooring, the exclusive distributor of Stubby Flooring Tools. Don't forget to leave a review and let us know what you think about the show. If you would like to be a guest, have questions or feedback, you can email us at flooracademypodcast@gmail.com. You can help support the show by becoming a patron over at www.patreon.com/flooracademy. Remember, to learn, well, you earn.